And be sure to tune in to Health Quest Radio this Saturday morning at 11
AM 560. The Answer.
Welcome back to the show, all about small business, jobs, and entrepreneurship. Welcome back to Get Down to Business, and I'm absolutely thrilled and honored to welcome to the program Ed Samuel, an executive career coach with Sam Nova. And Ed is the author of a fantastic book, Optimize Your Resume, Do's and Don'ts, the Sam Nova Way. Ed, welcome to the program.
Hey, so glad to be here.
It's great to have you. And Ed, as I mentioned, you are a senior executive career life coach, ministry leader, author, radio host, certified career assessment and DISC personality, ID consultant and team leader, and founder of Sam Nova. You are actually out in Pennsylvania, but you have a growing client practice all over the United States and beyond, where you're helping so many people with their careers. And that is so timely and so critical. That's what your book is all about. Ed, I love to get to know the person behind the microphone. Do you mind introducing yourself briefly and tell us a little bit about your background that led to all of that fascinating work?
Yeah, well, thanks. We've been helping people now for going on 12 years. My background has been, I grew up in the corporate America. I started out as an accounting clerk at 3, making $3.63 an hour up in Maynard, Massachusetts, and went on that corporate career. I want to say 20 some years nonstop, and had an amazing run, multiple divisions, multiple groups, just for that one firm, and then I went to other larger corporations or similar corporations, as well as different industries, played different roles, everything from a VP of finance to an accounting manager to a financial analyst to a VP of operations. I've just been blessed with so many different roles. But like many other people in America, that company, my very last corporate company back in, I want to say, it was 15 years ago, they did lay me off, and I found myself unemployed like a lot of Americans today. And that kind of led me to a big moment in my life where I had to take a deep breath and figure out what I was going to do next.
And I didn't mention this earlier, but you have a bachelor's from Wilmington University, summa cum laude, and undergraduate degree in accounting. So you certainly have had quite the shift, and that is exactly what you do in helping folks, helping your clients, as you say in the book, do's and don'ts, which is so important. We're going to talk about some of those tips in our short conversation, but I have to admit, I'm actually feeling kind of overwhelmed today because I have you, and you are a radio host yourself, and of course my upcoming guest, Catherine Johns, of course, 25 years in the business. So we've got some fascinating people. Ed, your show is very, very well regarded. I'm excited to join you on the program in the upcoming weeks. But tell us a little bit. I don't want you to give away the secret recipe over here, but what are some of the fundamental points that you share in your book and that you share with your listeners and share with your clients?
Well, one of the reasons I wrote the book is that not everybody can hire a career coach, right? We're not necessarily career coach is not necessarily a cheap exercise, especially when people need a lot of help, especially at an executive level. But we wrote the book because there are a lot of people who want help, and hey, look, for $20, I wanted to basically give people a fundamental outline of what a resume should and shouldn't look like. Something as simple as a header on the resume with a title. Something as simple as making sure that the very best of someone comes out in that first page of the resume. You'd be amazed at how many times that does not happen. A lot of resumes have a lot of what I call fluff, F-L-U-F-F, on that resume, when in fact, when you take all the fluff away, people who are looking for candidates, 5-7 seconds max. I led a very large corporate recruiting team with some of the best recruiters in the world for a multi-billion-dollar medical device company. And I asked them, how long did it take, to look at a resume? 5-7 seconds. And if that first page is in a home run, it doesn't go too far. But, the other thing that I want to do is I want to be on radio because, again, I wanted to offer some free advice for those people, again, who may not be able to hire a career coach, but they might want to get some tips. My show's 30 minutes, and I've covered I want to say, about 40 different areas now. I even have a career spotlight series going on with people with fascinating changes in their lives and what they've done in terms of the pivots they've made. But we'll do everything from, if you listen to our broadcasts or turn into a podcast, put up on the station, and we'll talk about, interviewing. We'll talk about personality in interviewing. We'll talk about, the mistakes recruiters make and continue to make, even in the midst of this COVID-19 period. I said, you hear the mistakes recruiters are making and what you can do to try to overcome them. So we cover a wide area of topics, and it's my way of kind of giving back to the people out there to give them a few ideas so they could really optimize their career and get back to work.
Sure. And I'm chatting with Ed Samuel, an executive career coach with Sam Nova, and Ed is the author of a book, Optimize Your Resume. And Ed, I know you talk about how Optimize Your Resume can also be used as a guide for hiring managers looking to screen ideal candidates to fill vital roles. And you just touched on some of those tips that, again, it really is that initial portion of a resume that really first impressions is everything. And Ed, I have to ask, you work with a pretty wide variety of clients, as well as, of course, people that tune into your radio program. It could be somebody coming straight out of college, a recent college graduate, to a seasoned working professional. Would you say, Ed, that it is the same tips that are applicable to one demographic that is also relevant to the other? Or are there any things that you would like to shout out to our listeners that might be tuning in that might be relevant to their resumes, to their career search, or to somebody in their family or friend list that might benefit from this advice?
When you're coming out of school, the resume might look a little bit different because it tends to be educationally driven. But, after that first year out of school, quite honestly, all our tips apply to somebody who's 23 and they had a job for 6 months, a year, right up to somebody who comes to me who's 75 years old and they want to continue to work another 10 years. And we've actually helped people of that age group. Most recently we helped a young man who was early 20s in the entertainment business, went to school for entertainment, was in it for 4 years. This is even before COVID, and then COVID hit, and he was kind of just lost. He was looking for a job for 9 months, and then COVID hits. And we actually helped transform his resume. But before we even did that, we actually did an assessment as to what would make the most sense for him moving forward in his life and career. So he went from a entertainment production producer, so to speak, of music, and he's now a recruiter of all things. And his resume was transformed, and we brought over the transferable skills. But yeah, the tips apply for somebody coming out of school or somebody younger in their career, right up to midlife. And the crazy thing about it is that I work with people who make $750,000, $1 million, $2 million a year in compensation, right on down to someone who's making $30,000. But as you go up the ladder, salary-wise, it's really interesting. Your resume doesn't have to be longer. It has to be tighter, more succinct, and quite honestly, less is more when you get even more senior for the people that I've helped. Really hard to get people through that knothole. But that's it applies really around the entire that continuum.
Well, I've been chatting with Ed Samuel, a career coach, transformational life coach, author, career direct and disc consultant, as well as a Crown Financial Ministries outreach leader and founder. Ed Samuel, we are just about out of time, and I want to make sure our listeners know where they can reach you and purchase a copy of the book. Do you mind sharing your website and any contact information?
Yeah, absolutely. Our website is www.sam, like Uncle Sam, S-A-M, Nova, like the star, Nova, Inc.com, Sam Nova, Inc., Inc.com. Our main number is 610-274-8214. And if you're on LinkedIn, which is such a great tool, just type my name in, Ed Samuel, Career Coach, LinkedIn. I'll come up on the first page of Google. I'll be right up near the top, and then you can connect with me on LinkedIn. You can order my book from my website, because of COVID-19, it was taking quite a long time for Amazon to get them out. They're getting better. Or you could certainly order my book through Amazon as well, Optimize Your Career. But if you order it through our website, we'll include shipping and get it out to you.
Awesome. Ed Samuel, be sure to check out his website, samnovainc.com, and purchase a copy of his book, Optimize Your Resume. Thank you so much for joining me on the air. Come back real soon, and I can't wait to join you on your program as well. Ed Samuel, Sam Nova Inc. We'll be back and get down to business in just a moment.
It's that time of year.